Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. And be sure to tune in to Trust the Profits Live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Monday Night Lights, hosted by Matthew DeSantis.
Wow, that is sexy, El Hombre, and we are so excited to have this new partnership with Assiniboia Downs. This is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And what better way to kick off? We got a Memorial Day weekend here. We got a long weekend. Most of you have Monday off. I hope you do. Hope to get some family time, relaxation time. Assiniboia Downs has a big special on Monday night with a pick 4 with a guaranteed $50,000 pool. Last 4 races on the card. It is noted that it is a $1 minimum wager. You're probably used to a 50-cent wager minimum for pick 4s, but this is a $1 minimum, and it is a $50,000 guaranteed pool. Probably, this looks like it starts at 9:05 Central Time, depending on your time zone, race 4 post time. But so yeah, Monday evening, why not jump into this one? You can get into a pick 4 relatively cheap. You can go deep with a ticket, try to hit big. Colin, are you playing this thing on Monday night? Because I know I am.
I am now, because I'm sick and tired of Matt DeSantis winning stable duels, so I got to go beat somebody else in another kind of pool, because Matt's just been cleaning up on the Assiniboia Downs. So yeah, that's my go-to last year with the Assiniboia Downs. That's how I kind of got into it, with the stable duel live stream on the Monday Night Lights that they did. And you saw in our open there that we're going to be live throughout this card as well. So not only are we helping you handicap this weekend to prepare for that late pick 4, but please be sure to come and stop and join Matt DeSantis on Monday Night Lights. I'll be dropping in, and we'll have some other special guests dropping in as well. And that's going to be the plan for Mondays going forward throughout the summer. So we are really excited about that. And we're going to have a little stable duel talk. We'll have a little live handicapping talk. And this video here is focused on that late pick 4 to try and get you ready. So when you come to the Monday Night Lights chat, you can come prepared, and we're going to give them all the info they need for this late pick 4 on Monday, which to me, it was an interesting race. And as Matt has talked about, or an interesting sequence, I should say, as Matt has talked about, the early in the season at Assiniboia Downs, a lot of these races are just short because these horses all stay up in that area. And so they're kind of running them back into shape, so to speak. So a lot of the races that you'll see early on in the Assiniboia meet is 5 furlongs, not much more than 6 furlong races here. And that's what we have here for the late pick 4. Starting with race 4, this is going 5 furlongs. It's a maiden claimer for $7,500 for fillies and mares 3-year-old and up. So first leg of the pick 4, El Hombre, where did you land?
All right. So yeah, as we mentioned, this is $1 minimum pick 4 with that guarantee. I was trying to build a ticket in the $50 range with the $1 minimum. So, I don't know whatever your budget is, just take this into consideration. There are a couple singles possible. I know Colin has a single that he likes. I have one possible, but for the sake of this video, I am not going to single anything. And my ticket is going to be a $60 ticket. I'm just going to come right out with you on that. But in the first leg, I thought I could narrow it to just 2 horses here. I'm going with the 6 and the 7, and that is Anna Kozana with Alexander Cumberbatch. And I know that's not his real name. What's the actor's name from the British guy? I don't know.
Yeah, is it Benjamin Cumberbatch?
Yeah, there you go. Benedict Cumberbatch. Sorry. And that is the two morning line favorites. And here's the thing: I tried to commit to one or the other to maybe find a single in the first leg here, but those two have gone neck and neck. They've raced each other a couple times and they've beaten each other. And I did find, at least according to my notes, I felt like those two were superior together, and I could not decide. So therefore, I just went with both of them the safe route, and I didn't feel the need to add anybody else in this first race. So I went 6 and 7 in the first leg. Where'd you end up?
This was tough because you have a lot of lightly raced horses that are coming off of long layoffs. So not only are you dealing with the long layoff, you're also dealing with horses that you haven't seen a ton of. And I actually defaulted to a little angle here of you have a couple 4-year-olds mixed in with 3-year-olds. And when I landed on the 2 4-year-olds that I liked, which was the 5 and the 3, I at that point said I don't want to leave the other 4-year-old off, which is the one, Milan, Ohio, who actually hasn't raced before, but on May 15th had a nice solid 5 furlong workout in 102. Remember, when you watch these workouts, they're not what you're used to seeing at Belmont and Churchill with the 59s and the 1 minutes. But when you compare that workout to workouts back, I feel like that on the one at least puts this horse in the company. The 5, Sassy Stormin, was another 4-year-old. Antonio Whitehall's opened up this meet with 5 victories right off the top.
Yeah.
How are you? So when you're entering one of these races, with what, like I said, you don't have a lot to go off of with these horses, I'm going to take a jockey like that has just come out firing. And the last race that this horse actually had back in September was under a previous trainer, but the speed figure for that race absolutely fits and is actually right up there with the best of them, including that 7 that you had mentioned. Big energy.
Yeah, it's going to be, I was going to say, be careful with number 7's name there. I mean, you can read between the lines on that one. I won't spell it out for you if you don't get it, but if you get it, you get it. Careful.
The other horse that I'm very interested in as a 4-year-old, before I even went to the 4-year-old angle, was this 3 at 20-1. This horse that showed confidence by going from a maiden claimer right to a maiden special weight and then jumping up into allowance company and finishing a second and a third at a much higher level. So at 20-1, with speed figures that are at least in the ballpark, I'm going to gladly take a shot there as well. I got a little defensive, which I hate doing. And if you guys out there watching want to blame me for that in my ticket structure, then you can totally do that. But I did add these 7 as well. A little bit of I think if I can get by this one, I have some prices later on. So don't want the big energy whose speed figures fit as well to knock me out. So I did go 1, 3, 5, 7 here in the first leg. But if you want to take the 7 off and just ride with those prices, I wouldn't blame you for that.
All right. So right off the bat, we are contrarian with one another, which is no surprise. Me and Colin tend to be contrarian, which will make this an interesting sequence together here. We'll see if so far we have 1 in alignment. Let's see if our pick 4 actually could possibly sequence to where we both win. I don't know if that's going to happen. I doubt it.
All right. We'll keep track.
All right. So let's move on to race 5, the second leg here. And this is the one where I had mentioned that I thought I found a single here. And again, could not quite commit. I fell on the 2 house limit. And you brought up Whitehall in the last leg here. Mm-hmm. Ironically, the only race I didn't like Whitehall in was that first leg. I do like him a lot here. 4-1 morning line. And this was, I was almost ready to single him at 4-1 morning line. I don't think he's going to go off at 4-1. I hope he does. If he does, I'll probably pounce on a win bet or some kind of exacta involving the 2 here. And then the 4 to me was the obvious choice. Stay Happy. That is your morning line favorite. So far I've been pretty chalky, but with the 4, I just thought he was very close to the 2. I do like the 2 a little bit better, especially at the price. Like I said, I almost singled him. Adding the 4 kind of defensively, like you said on the first, I don't hate people for playing defensively on a sequence of a pick 4 or 5. I think it's dumb to play defensively on a pick 3 or like a double, but on a pick 4 or 5 sequence, especially if you're spreading it deep in at least one race, I don't think it's bad to play defensively, to take a chalky horse, like in this case, the 4 for me. If you think you've got a shot to get a 10-20-1 horse in a different leg, which I do think so here. So I didn't mind. So in this second leg, race 5, I ended up on the 2 and the 4. I like the 2 a little bit more, and that was almost a single. Where you end up on here?
Yeah, same places. I do like the 2 and the 4. The 2's raced 37 times lifetime with 10 victories. That's a pretty good percentage you get right there. And that last race, although it was in September, the speed figure there really the last like 4 or 5 races from a Brisnet speed figure standpoint, this horse kind of stands out. So I was close to thinking the same way you did. However, in watching last week in the first 2 races at Assiniboia Downs, one thing that I noticed as a trend was we talked about horses that are going to be coming off of long layoffs coming into the beginning of this meet. Well, the horses that had been running last week did really well. Horses that had races under their belts in March and April had been doing really well. And when you add in another factor to that, which is horses that had been running either on synthetic or turf and also running and coming back did even better in the first 2 days of this meet, Monday and Tuesday. And so when I looked at the 6 and I saw that the 6 had not only run twice in March, it is coming off of the synthetic. So you're getting a nice 5-1 price with a jockey who historically has been good, although was looking for the first victory this year. I didn't find that angle many other times in this sequence. And so when I saw it, I was like, man, I can't leave off this one angle that I've been interested in, which is horses that are running versus ones that haven't. And this horse is also coming off the synthetic. The 4 is coming from Turf Paradise, who also raced in March and April. So that one checked both of those. Well, at least it checked the box of having a couple races under his belt as well. And at least according to Brisnet is an E8. So you'd think has that early speed advantage in this race. So I go 2, 4, 6.
All right. So you're deeper than me so far, although I think that's about to change. Let's head to race 6, the third leg in this pick 4 sequence. Do you want to talk first? Why don't you go ahead and spell out who you came up with here in race 6?
Yeah, just go back one slide on your slides there because you're on race 7. Race 6 is another 5 furlong. Claiming race for 5,000, although it says non-winners of 3. We exchanged some messages in our text because you got to kind of look. It says non-winners of 3, but then there's winners with 4 races. And so sometimes you have to do that work. I ended up, because you had mentioned about me being a little deep in the previous 2 legs, I was trying to find a signal. And I ended up landing on the number 5 Into Bourbon for a few reasons. One is that exact reason I just talked about. This horse is coming in off of synthetic and has a race in February when many of these other horses coming into this race, aside from the 8, haven't really been racing at all. So A, it checks that box for me. B, Wendy Anderson, the trainer, has started off at a 20% clip. And when she has moved horses from all weather or synthetic to the dirt in 23 races is striking at 43%. So not only did I see a little bit of a speed advantage here, because this horse also has an E8 when you have a lot of other horses here that are more back of the pack. You also have a hot trainer and that angle that I already talked about coming off synthetic. I needed to find a single. I wish it wasn't 7-5, but that's where I ended up landing. And this is going to be my single in the leg, number 5, Into Bourbon. Did you have Into Bourbon on your ticket?
Yes, but I spread it out a little bit more. I have 3 horses on mine. I did not feel the confidence. And by the way, I think that Into Bourbon is probably going to be a better price than that for you at 7-5 because it's a 9-horse field. As long as there's no big scratches otherwise, because I think that there's a couple horses that are pretty close. Number 2, Impressive Sense, I went with. Again, with Whitehall, I told you Whitehall, like you said, he's off to a hot start. One of the better jockeys at the track here. What else did I have? The trainer also, 3 wins in 6 races, off to a hot start. So that jockey trainer combo really strong. Obviously, the speed figures are amongst the better of the group here. And then I also added the 7, which is a 6-1 Euro Silver Biz, a Florida horse with Carreno, who I think is one of the other best jockeys at the track.
Yeah.
I don't know, a little bit of a reach here maybe, but I think this horse, it's 6-1 morning line. But like I said, I mean, this is a pretty balanced field. I think you're going to get at least 6-1 on that horse, probably more like 10-1. I don't know. I'm guessing because I'm not all that familiar with how the betting works at Assiniboia Downs as far as, there's an Irad Ortiz at every track where jockeys just get hammered and certain trainers. But I don't know. The 7 on paper looks to be the 3rd or 4th best horse, but I think the horse may be close enough to do some damage at a price. And I'm 3 deep here, 2, 5, and 7 for race 6. And
the 2 was the one I highlighted as if one's going to beat me. That's the one I'm worried about because just as you said, the speed figures fit. And really the knock that I had against my 5 or the nervousness that I have in singling my 5 is that the speed figures are really not that superior. And in fact, they're actually a little less than superior when you compare it to another horse like the 2. The 1 has actually shown increasing speed figures, which is something me and Matt always talk about over the course of the career. This horse has just continued to get better. But like I said, I'm gonna rely on that angle that these horses that are having these really long layoffs are going to struggle a little bit versus a horse that at least has had some recent experience. And this horse has put up two pretty good, number 5 I'm talking about, has put up some pretty good works consistently. So that's where I'm going to lean on, and hopefully we can get through this leg.
Looking back at it, I just remember the reason. One of the big reasons I did add the 7 at that price is the I think it was 3 races back, ran a monster, the best speed figure out of all these horses, and won the race in a similar, class. Let's see, it was 4 races back, ran the biggest speed figure out of all these horses. Hasn't repeated that effort since, but I think that kind of gave me a glimmer of hope to try to get a price involved here with the 7. So let's go on. Final leg. Colin, I am deep in this race. This was my deep leg. I am 5 deep in a 10-horse field. I'm going to have half of them. If I make it through the first 3 legs, I will have half the field to bail me out in the finale. And I'll start with number 4, Benedict Cumberbatch again. And now let's see. I have 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is like I said, I'm pretty deep in this race. And
all right, so we can both win. We can both hit this.
Can we? Did we match up enough? I was curious to see that happen.
We did. We have enough coverage that we can both win, which I always love.
Which only the first race we only had 1 match, right? So I thought there was no way that would possibly happen.
Yeah, we're good.
So I think the 4, if you're 2-1, that's the morning line. That is probably the favorite and probably deserves to be. This race looks to me to be the most wide open. That's why I went 5 deep here. Let's see. Behind the 4, I also have the 7. Speed figures are actually a little better than the 4 at times. I mean, it's just I couldn't make heads or tails of this race, to be honest with you. I'm sitting here going, I started trying to pick the winner, and then I was like, well, let's maybe go backwards and pick who I can cross off first. I mean, I went back and forth with this race. So like I said, I ended up with half the field, but I went thin enough in the beginning of the sequence to allow for that. So 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see there that the 8 is 15-1. And we got our boy Whitehall, who is, I mean, if you're going to play the jockey game, he's got the hot hand. I understand there's only been 2 or 3 race days here. So I don't know. In a race where the horses felt pretty balanced, why not go with the jockey who's got the hot hand right now? And I don't know, the 9 and 10 were just logical as well. So it's basically the top 3 or 4 on paper. Plus I threw in Whitehall on the 8 to get that price home. If I line up a couple of these prices, we could get a big score here on the dollar pick 4. Where'd you end up in race 7?
Yeah, I included the 7 and 8 as well, but I shied away from the 4 only because of how much early speed is in this race. So I think that the 7, Miami Souvenirs, is a great play only because it's the only horse that really closes and has a stalker designation according to Brisnet. It only has 1 win over 14 victories, but to me, it's a pace makes the race play. So that's why I included the 7, and that's why I left off the 4 and the 5, because I'm hoping those two are just going to kind of go at it. The 4 is much faster than the 5, but if the 5 can get out there and put a little pressure on the 4, I'm hoping that first off the layoff hasn't raced since September. I'll keep hammering that until that trend changes. I'm hoping that those two go out. And the other horse I included was actually number 1, Red Sparrow. We bring back the Wendy Anderson angle, and this horse, like we talked about, needing to read through the conditions. This is for horses that have never won 2 races. This horse has raced 38 times, has 5 victories, 13 seconds, and 5 thirds. So to me, it's a horse that's going to be in the mix, and so has that nice rail. We've talked about, especially on Matt's live stream last Monday, about the inside speed at Assiniboia Downs really does really well. And if you look at Horse Racing Nation's, they do the post position percentages by speed. And if you're 1, 2, or 3 with early speed, that's hitting at 24%. So if you're early speed on the inside, that's good. And what I have taken away from those numbers is if you're late speed on the outside, that's also good. And I feel like that's what I'm getting with number 7, Miami Souvenirs. And I threw in the 8 as well. a little bit of a connections play there. The jockey and trainer have both started off pretty hot. Won at this level last race in September. Speed figures were a little light, but like you said, 15-1. Trying to catch a price when I had that 7-5 single is what I'll use. So I went 1 with the 7 and the 8.
So we should be wearing our Whitehall jerseys on Monday night.
Yes.
Autographed jerseys. Maybe we'll get an autograph. Maybe, you know.
Yes.
We're going to be pushing Assiniboia Downs, especially on Monday nights all year. It's going to be fun. We'll get to know these jockeys and trainers a lot better throughout the season.
And the horses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be
they all stay there.
A lot of it's a rotation, like you said. A lot of these horses are mainstays at Assiniboia Downs only, and it's pretty cool to see the past performances where you do see some shippers come in, and it's hard to compare like that Turfway Park and the Golden Gate. We saw a lot of horses from those two tracks coming in, and it's like, man, how do you compare those? And that's what's fun about it early in the season here, because I mean, how do you react to this is a completely different track, completely different part of the country, weather different, everything's different. And just to see how they stack up. And then throughout the season, you will be able to have your own opinions on those horses as they go, because most of these horses will stay at Assiniboia Downs for, I think there's 16 or 18 weeks of this season here. So it's going to be a fun summer. We will be doing the live streams every Monday night, and we'll be doing some sort of handicapping show. Probably Matthew DeSantis will do that every week with guests, me, Colin, the formula, some other guys to jump in and cap the whole cards on Mondays so that you can jump into that live stream. And like Colin said at the beginning of this video, kind of have at least a familiarity with the fields and everything going on. And, you know, you can take what we say as a starting point, or ignore us, or fade us, or go right along with us and we'll cheer together, whatever you want to do. But to me, the more angles you see, I like to watch, you know, several types. I like to watch Colin's videos, like with the Kentucky Derby. I watched all of our videos. There was 15 different opinions on our channel, probably. And it was like, you take all of that and formulate the average in your head and do what you do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really something excited and looking forward to it. And it's Monday night, so we're heading into the summer, and you're going to be partying Friday and Saturday nights. You'll be hungover doing yard work on Sunday. Yeah. And then Monday night, you're like, oh, work sucks, and I'm back to work, and it's the summer. But, oh, look, I got the trust of profits to keep me through and get me through that Monday night.
Makes this Monday a little more special, though, because there's no work for most people.
That's
and
right.
This right here you go. There's our tickets. There's the recap of our 2 tickets. Mine is $60 total. Collins is 36. And I will say this, I did start with the second leg. You see the 2 and the 4. If you wanted to cheapen up, not necessarily recommending it, but if you want to single the 2 in the second leg, you get that ticket cut in half to $30. But hey, you're only overspending if you lose, right? So if this is a pick 4 sequence, and especially at $1 minimum that pays out several $100s, you'll forget that you spent 60 instead of 30. So anything else, Colin, to close it out? We're super excited. I'm super pumped and excited to learn this track inside and out all season.
Nope. Same here, and really pumped. And we thank Assiniboia for their support, and we thank you for all your support. Please like and subscribe. Plenty more content. Don't forget, we still have Belmont Stakes. I mean, we're pumped about Assiniboia Downs, but we're going to have Belmont Stakes coverage coming at you left and right, including Jessica's Pedigree Puzzle, which just came out this past week. So check that out, and we will see you all live Monday in the chat. Be there or be square.